Hi guys, thank you so much for joining me. Paulina here, talking to you a little bit about this amazing moon coming up. There is a full moon in Libra, and your innermost qualities and your innermost ideals are going to start to be true. So welcome. How far have you come? So Aries, I've been talking a lot about Aries during my Patreon, I suppose, lectures and audios. And what I've been trying to help people feel is that how much you can do, how much you can take out of you, how much you can push and pull, and what you can fathom is exactly it, you know. So this is the beginning of the year. This is the big deal, and sometimes people don't really feel so good about themselves. And here comes the romance. Here comes the ideals. Here comes people's pressure to compete and to look amazing to each other. Here also comes the feeling and the frequency of doing wrong and also doing someone else wrong, or feeling like somebody else has done this or that. So this has been coming through for ages. Also, we definitely do have a lot of thinking and not enough doing, and also people that lie and people that want to do something that is not really a part of them and also take part of that which is somebody else's choice. So if you are free, don't worry, don't care, you don't need this video. So how do you feel? So the idea is to have your own place, to have your own reasons, to have your own groups, maybe sometimes for some people, to have your own scope of doubts. Sometimes, sure, to have your own thinking patterns, to have your own friends, to have your own feelings, and to have it all connected, and also to have the past left behind. So we did have the eclipse season quite recently in March, and we would have done quite a lot to get rid of things and just to say, never mind. I've done it, I've tried it, I had a look, you know, I had some trust or I had some feelings or philosophies, and it didn't kind of do what it wanted or what it offered or what I wanted it to do, and it's no choice now but just to leave it alone. So what I also really like about some people that are prepared, if you're a strong person, if you're young, or if you're an altruist, or if you're just young at heart like me, and if you enjoy things that really matter to you, you would just leave, and walk through the doors. So by now, as I'm aware, we are quite late now. The moon is coming soon. It is nice to feel free to just do as you will. And sometimes it is your inertia and your physical agility, your physical body, or just your sense of self that is going to just pull you into the right strand, into the right energy, into the right frequency, into the right world. You will get to know somebody maybe, or you'll do things almost at once with other people. Sometimes there's a natural synchronicity and sometimes there won't be. Sometimes you don't have any supporters or not that many. And sometimes people choose not to have supporters during an Aries time because you want to go. The idea is to go forward, the idea to do that which you really need to do. And also the idea is to not grab onto the details, not to be so scrupulous and so afraid and also so satisfied with other people's ideas and deals, because you need to grow your own. Sometimes it is about growing your own, growing yourself, having your own space, having your own dreams and ideas to follow, having your own personality and presence. And it is really important because the time is now. The time sometimes, yeah, is to decide what you want, what you will, what you have in mind, and also what is your focus. So it's really nice also sometimes to be with the right people. For a person who's not so powerful yet, who hasn't got any personality or presence to them, and that has got a lot of wonder and not enough connection, not enough source energy, sometimes, yeah, you'll have to be going along for the ride. You'll have to be the one next to somebody strong, because that is not something that you can do by yourself, but it is not maybe sometimes important for us. But for some people that are stranded, for some people that are loitering, some people that in between other people's willpower, other people's properties, other people's ideas, you will see it. Another person may have the will to push you out. Another person may have the will to snuggle you in. So that's the thing. If you are thinking, you know, how can I improve my circumstance? Do you have plenty of debts that you haven't paid? Do you have something lagging from the previous outcomes? Do you have some kind of debts? Or do you have something that you still have got no idea about? Like you're really confused. And this is where sometimes people need help. But this is hard because sometimes during this window, people do take advantage. A professional is expensive during this time. We do have Chiron next to the sun. if you really want some advantage, sometimes only one type of person will give it to you. And that human sometimes asks to be paid very well during such a time. And sometimes also certain professionals will not be there unless you do something for them. So that's the thing. Sometimes it's not that easy, but the karma is to be insignificant between these giant blocks of energy. This is one of Libra's main issues. I have a Libra sun, by the way, just so you know. Being subjected to a situation or repetitive cycle with somebody else who seems to have some kind of a way above you. So having people that control you, control your paycheck, control your movements in the world, control how you dress or how you look or what you say and what you feel. That's very important here for me as a reader, for me as a Libra as well, to notice for you, to bring up, because this is very, very bad. So if you have a full moon and you don't know, and sometimes you don't care which way you go, you don't have any strength or stamina, or you don't really feel anything. Sometimes Libra has a very numbing energy, you don't feel anything, and maybe you don't really want to thank anybody, you don't really feel very interested or very adept to anything. That is going to be a very, very big deep end for certain people. And also sometimes certain parts of your body do not work as well as they used to, or certain parts of your ideology are not fitting. So things are not here, not nor there. So if you still have some time, try to get in your own body, know what is important for you, your own money, your own house, your own possibility, your own interests, your own possessions, definitely your own stuff. So it's very much about you. All about you, what makes sense to you, what kind of clothes you want to wear, what kind of picnic you're having around here, what kind of knowledge you're sharing as well, what kind of personality you have, and also what type of people you're after. But sometimes now these have to be on your terms. Like I can switch on Instagram and have a look, but Instagram is not the boss of me. I don't have an addiction. I'm just looking because I can, because I like it. Or for example, yeah, that person looks cute to me, like they're happy with me, but I don't need them. I don't want them. I don't have anything inside me that says if I don't have this person around, something will happen to me, you know. So this is about independence. It is about very black and white behavior. In some cases, you will need to learn very fast and scope out the truth. Who is there for you? What is right for you? Who is right for you? Who's going to be there for you later on in your life? And also, what is it all going to be later on? So yeah, we do have some schemes and planning. Now, this is a very dangerous topic for me to talk about. I don't want to go too far into it because I understand some people get too excited about this stuff and this can actually pull the rug from under your feet. But in some relatable cases, we may be asking, well, you know, what's the long-term mission? So like I do a bit of this, a bit of that. Like what's the long-term result? Like what are the long-term thinking patterns that I'm going to be a part of? Or what is the long-term vision for me, for my house, you know, for my husband, for my kids? What's the long term? And certain human beings cannot tell you, and there's going to be a lot of this, a lot of this, a lot of this, until you really sense who you are. And if it is within you, if it is right to make a choice, actually most people that are strong, significant and conscious enough of who they are, they don't have to ask, they don't have to go to a reader, they don't have to do any kind of follow-up questions or any remarks. They don't have to go into this sort of like wild feeling. It just so happens in the right moment at the right. Pessimism, however, is also on the rise during these times. There's a lot of it during this time. So pessimism, feeling like, but I'm young, or like, but nobody knew who I was, but like I had a friend, but like that was not a real friend, or the way that I thought about my husband is not the way he thought about me, everything like that. So immaturity and not being blocky, strong and focused enough. At the end of the day, you don't actually need so much to survive, so let go. Now, this is something that is also harsh, like who are you? What do you really need? If you can answer this, that's it, you have no problems. You don't need a reader, you don't need somebody to motivate you to feel good. Just the question of who you are and what do you really need. We are heading towards Taurus. I understand the animosity that some people may have because there's some bitiness. It's like the truth is we all want something fun, and not often is it actually meant for us, but you know, sometimes we like see what's on TV and we really want a piece. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you for wishing for that. But you know, we need to really be attentive to details. And some people, yeah, eventually will go into mode of operation, which does not matter. They just want to feel secure in something. So here we have people eating a lot. Here we have people doing a little bit. They're sort of dabbling between things if they don't have themselves inside. So, I mean, what I can say it's an individual's choice. Some people would do very good by doing some kind of bodily procedures. For example, going from cold water to hot, having saunas and steams. Some people would really do well by exercising, eating properly, and just being really aware of their movements and actions and who they are. And maybe if you like, you can ask yourself, who am I? And some qualities of you may sneak on in. You ask, it'll be returned very quickly. If you have a question, some of it is going to be asked and answered as if within yourself or outside of you very quickly. So you can get some very interesting hints, also sometimes from other people, but don't enjoy another person so much that you fall asleep. So that's the thing, that's the thinking. Don't go chasing waterfalls or searching outside of yourself. Usually these answers will be found from within. So what else happens? What else is of matter? We have a very, very big addictive dream time provided to some people. I'm one of those people, I'm happy to say. Sometimes a person is just burning with inspiration, or they're saying, I know exactly who I am and exactly how I want to spend the next, 20 years of my life. I know how I'm going to do it. Sometimes you get a visionary, and it's almost like a vision, it just goes bang. It's almost like a knife that cuts through all of those other visions and all of those other stories, and you suddenly understand yourself. I've had quite a bit of this. Maybe you only had that when you were young, and maybe your parents or people around you cut your wings pretty quick. It's like, shh, don't tell anybody, or don't do this, don't do this. So the reason why sometimes we don't have enough passion, we don't have enough control over our lives or connection to our bodies is simply because we didn't have enough compassion sometimes growing up, or we didn't give it to ourselves later, and so we're kind of without willpower. And also sometimes being damaged by your predecessors or the people around you. It usually starts at home. Like, why do kids become bullied children? That's because it usually starts at the root. It doesn't start necessarily at school. Sometimes it actually starts more near the root, and people don't have anything, and after all they're kind of just sort of skimming. And even if you have a house and a job and a husband and dogs and cats and kids and everything, you may not actually necessarily have that feeling. And that's where people look at fashion. That's where people sometimes look up to a person for being young and strong and fiery and inspirational. Here we have influencers, here we have coaches, and also sometimes we have issues because not everybody's compatible, not everything sits right. But some of the time people just really like one another for stimulation. And now this is something that's interesting. Would you be happy on your own? Sometimes people will say, no, I need someone to talk to. I need somebody to be there for me. And now depends, like write down what for do you need someone in your life, and you'd be amazed if you just have several things, key things, like, I don't know, I'm bored, I need something else, like see what stimulates you to find someone else. And also have a look if you have a giant list. Also, if you are usually, like, say, a woman looking for a husband, or somebody with really high standards, you would have a giant checklist as to who you are looking for. But what is that inside? So for the lovers and for the modern world searchers and seekers and hunters in terms of love, we don't have any time, even though Libra moon may imply like a certain type of spirituality or sensitivity or even sensuality that is between people because of where they come from and how they sort of attach meanings to one another. There is definitely romance in the air, and there's a feeling of significance. Now this is not really natural, it's not really nurturing. It's more like, oh, you look like the girl from TV, or like, wow, you're the guy, the guy with the car, and hey, wanna like hold hands for a while, so there's like nothing really that we can do about it if you are very enamored. What can I say about amor during this time? Usually in these very finite energies, in these very deep cutting energies, that's nothing, it's like, oh wow, I want some fluff, so notice if you like the fluff. If you suddenly pick up the phone and you're looking for distractions specifically, if you're suddenly really looking for somebody to carry you, and also if you are very, very certain that somebody else has to make sense. Like, for example, now you are meant to do this. Now, what are you going to do? So, for example, if you have many people around you and you're really obsessive compulsive about whether or not they're all making sense, like, are you doing the work? Did you do this? Did you do that? So if you're nagging somebody else, definitely means you don't have it. You don't have it inside. So nagging has to stop. Cutting out people sometimes also, not everybody, but some people are really clad with friends. They're like, oh God, I can't open the door again. What is it now? What is it now? What do you want? What do you want? So sometimes In some cases, there's definitely like a balancing you have to do here, because with Chiron there close to the sun, sometimes people are needed and wanted in certain positions if they've become part of their spirituality or part of their infinity. So for example, if you think you're a really good coach, you will get people lined up, or if you think you're like a really good dentist, people will line up, and this is nothing actually really to do with you, and it's not sometimes even to respect you, but to see you as a guide. Sometimes also if you've gotten to this point because you've got Chiron right next to the sun on the day, where you are just a funnel and you're sort of filtering people for your work, or you are constantly seeing people, constantly explaining yourself to other people, well, sorry, but no, this is going to be a bother. So also notice if you're becoming one of those things, so this is something that we have to talk about. Moon in Libra, full moon Libra, also fortune quite close by, also in Libra. There's a person that is so big and so vibrational, and sometimes this has to do with something that you have attached meaning to. For example, you're a beautiful woman and you're getting millions of views of your photographs or something like that. For instance, you are a very good mechanic and suddenly you have several people lined up with their cars and vehicles, so that's the thing, you don't have to think about it, but sometimes, the moon is very full in Libra. Sometimes it's a little bit like flabbergasting, it's a little bit dumbstruck. The energy of Libra on these degrees, I have my son in those degrees, so I get it, you guys. It's very sensitive, but it's also kind of unable to speak or really voice its full needs and ideals. It's sometimes like, wow, the moon, it's like, wow. Like there's like this feeling of feelings, but they're kind of like lost and stolen sometimes. They're in between. So I feel that sometimes there is a rabbit in headlights kind of feeling about some of this. Sometimes people don't really know what it is that draws them to each other. But the way that I'm seeing is you're either in your center, you either have a root system and have your core, or you are like one of those people that goes, wow, so this is like, are you the light or are you the moth that is attracted to the flame? So it's not actually that simple. Some of the time, like I would say this is a tragedy. It's not a tragedy necessarily. It's not like a negative feeling, but some of it can actually also be. So it kind of depends, So for some people, especially for the younger generation, notice if you don't have any feeling about you, if you don't have enough strength to your heart and to your energy system. So maybe, certain young people, sorry for the noise outside. For certain young people, there could definitely be a part or an element of their inner psychology that's really drawn towards something or somebody huge or strong or even messy. It's like, I want to go and see what's going on at the neighbor's house, or I want to see what people are up to. And that can sometimes be very nice, and sometimes people don't have anything else to them. So for a certain very young person that doesn't have any feeling to them, that doesn't have any awareness in their physical body, so for example, for a 12-year-old kid, for sure, sometimes there is an influence that will get you like flabbergasted and interested. But certain things definitely are not necessarily like in the wrong, but they just like this, So when you see a 35-year-old person or like a person even in their 20s really led along a path by somebody else, when you see a person wanting somebody else there, being interested in what they're selling or very curious about who they are, especially on such a moon, it means something is wrong. So if you are very curious about something or somebody during this time that is outside of yourself and doesn't actually have anything to do with your progress, have a look. And also, if you are kind of like me and you've done too much work on yourself and you've done so much work for other people, you may actually want to relax. But here is the thing. Some of the time, you may not really want that which you've got. So some people are actually proud and certain that they want to rebirth their realities completely. So this starts with, I don't know, different fashion, understanding your life different, like different parts of your life, recognizing your own soul, realizing where things didn't matter and where they do now. So this is very much like about measuring. It's about cut and dry. Systems are very perfect for some people. It's like, I know where I'm going to invest this money. Like, I don't need anybody to tell me how. I know what I'm going to do with it. Or like, I know what I'm going to do with my body. Well, I know what I'm going to do with my mind. Look, I don't need anybody. Now I'm going to witness it. I'm going to imagine it. Now this is like high visionary potential. Also people that are just really, really kind of like afraid of the world and feel very fearful of just whatever everybody else is doing, eventually starting to know who they are and having a little bit more compassion and a little bit more centeredness in their day-to-day life. So if you have anxiety and if you've done a lot of work on yourself, certain people may feel a feeling of resolve. Libra is completion, is perfection. It is the infinity sign. Some things are like, okay, I got it. I got my lessons. Okay, fine. Or like, I got all the debts covered, or I got the bill in the mail. Okay, now no. I got this. I got this. You know, so for the very friendly people and also people that have a lot of compassion for other people, naturally, you may actually be offered something, you know. So in some cases, yeah, for real, full moon in Libra, you may understand your place in the world. And if you are scoped to be a very interesting, very exact, or like a not very interesting person, so like whether your materials get passed on, or they get kind of blocked, or whether or not you do not have a friend, it is all going to go its own way. Now, the best thing you can do is keep out, everyone. For example, if you don't believe that person likes you, you don't need to ask them if they do or do not like you. This is the worst time to argue, and also to ask, how do you feel about me? Where do you see our relationship going? Do you like me? You know, do you think that I'm doing okay? So this is one of the best parts of the sky. Also, yeah, for missions and visions, and kind of trying to be alone sometimes, and not for everybody, but for certain individuals. You don't actually have to. But you may want to change, like you may want to just change the dimension of your being. You may want to change the way that you see your home. So like all of a sudden you don't want to like live on your own, you want to have someone there, or you don't want to live with someone, you want to go on the road, or you don't want this, or you want that, you know. So these questions of partnerships and relationships, because you now understand that things are wholesome. Also, if you got it, like for example, my partner will never find a job, or for instance, like I've been looking for someone and I don't think I actually will ever find someone who really completely fits me. Now that's done. Now you don't question anymore, especially if you've been questioning for several months. It's absolutely okay. So for certain people, it is correct to start something different. It's like, I know that I'm not really wanted here, so I'm just gonna walk. Or like, I understand that I'm not really cared for enough in this particular relationship, so I'm just gonna walk. Or I'm gonna change, or I'm gonna call something else in, you know. So definitely, if you're noticing a question mark rising up, now this is a very, very extreme case, but in certain situations, a person will just offer you something like, hey, here's my house, I'm like moving, I live overseas, so if you want, you can just, you know, have my house for several months. I really, you know, don't want you to be there later, but you know, for 5 or 6 months you can use my house, you know. Or for instance, it could be like, hey, I have a whole tattoo studio that I'm not using, and if you want, you know, you can use my tools, you know, even if you've never done this before, just use them. And this is something that is very, very meaningful. I feel this is very meaningful to me, as for other people as well, where you're offered by life almost passively, where it's just like thrown at you, like, here, like, have my number, you know what I mean? So like, that's the thing. The thinking pattern also is effortlessness. Now I've been coaching a bit about this on my Patreon channel. That means that you don't actually have any real idea, but it's just happening. Like, it's just happened. You know, these people just lined up. Okay, cool. Someone bought you a ticket. Cool. You know, someone asked you if you could participate. Cool. You know, like, there's almost nothing you actually ever had to do. Now, this is very important also for me, as maybe for you. If you were very vigilant and usually put a lot of effort and time into anything, like, I don't want to put in any more effort and time. I want it to be easy, you know. So this is the thing. Sometimes people will battle this, and because Chiron is next to the sun, I can see some very painful individuals that are like, the more you do, the better, or like the harder you work, the more it means. But this is the wrong way. This is not an opportunity. This is a mess, you know. So also, if you have now started to see that you have done a hell of a lot on something or somebody, and it just, you know, it's a zero. It's a zero result. You don't have anything left. Also, for example, if you have been in a group of people, or you have been in a relationship or a situation or a job, and it's a crying shame. Now, this is something very important also to me as I'm learning about this. You may actually want to do that thing that I also now know how to do, is you just do something else. You stop thinking about it, you know. So this is not a time for tarot card readings. Like, hey, like, what's gonna happen here? Like, I'm not seeing anything, like, nothing is happening. What am I gonna get? Like, how's it gonna go? So you basically have to understand that this is not the idea. If you don't have a result, if you have no results, no returns, and you've been somewhere for ages, and you've meant it, and you really put your identity, your heart, your spirituality, your time, and your energy into something or somebody, and it made you zero, like $0 or just made absolutely nothing, that's not something that you want to do again. And also, please station yourself very deeply, like on your feet, Like, feel your body, you know, feel yourself strong and sense, who is it, you know, that I am out of all of this. Sometimes you can go backwards, some of us will. Now, this is not ideal. This is not the reason, you know, this is not the reason. But, you know, sometimes people are like, okay, where was I 5 or 6 years before? Where I actually had some good returns and from just being who I am. Did you sometimes, you know, get paid or get invited because you were just who you are? Did you get celebrated? Did you by any chance have an easy result? Now, the idea is not to go completely passive easy. It's like where the result was really meaningful and very pure and it kept on returning to you. You know, it's like you throw something away and it's like a boomerang, it comes back to you regularly. So that's something that we have to learn about. This is something that we have to learn, is to accept the normal organic relationships, normal organic situations where things don't have to be owed. Owing people, Libra, definitely. You don't have to owe anybody. Like, I'm so sorry, I'll clean up after myself later. Or, sorry, honey, like, I'll scratch your back, you know, like, owing people to show up, to give them phone calls, owing, and also not having any knowledge as to why you are there. The best idea is to have a more popular beginning. Some people are really interested at the start of the year, you know, as we're in Aries, to have a very strong and certain thing. In some cases, you don't know who you are unless there are 4, 5, or 7,000 people supporting you. And for some reason, yeah, in a person who has several friends or even too many connections and outcomes, yeah, there's going to be a definite in terms of like, yeah, we support you and we want you to know that we like you, like here, we like what you're doing. And for some people, some beginnings is kind of sad. It's kind of sad to learn this way. So basically, I am what I am, a hopeful feeling, and then this is it. And sometimes people have to get angry. Also, if you haven't processed any anger, frustration, or depression during Aries, maybe you are very clean. But for some people, it's just impossible. Everything is so cringy and sensitive, and their body's like, oh my gosh, like what's going on? So that means you're not really prepared for the gallop of the year, for the next turning of events. So the reason why I'm also doing this sometimes is because I want to prepare myself. If you don't like something, just tell yourself you don't like it. If you don't want to be with someone, just say it. If you don't want to experience something, just say it. So sometimes saying it to yourself is very important. It's the most important thing you can do. So it's not about like whether or not your friends like it or not, or like if you can or cannot put this on social media or be part of like social politics, saying certain things. The best question I have for you is, did it matter? Also, did you want that? Did you need that? Did any of it come to anything? Was it really that important after all? And all you want to do is maybe sometimes, if you are strong, if you're with it, is have a big laugh, a big hearty yeah, or like no, you know, and just have a giggle, have a giggle. Sometimes it is hard. The stronger people already know it in their head and their body. Their body is that which understands. It's not even you and here. It's just like the whole thing understands. And in certain people's cases, it's not actually at all about them. It's still about someone else. Someone else. Like there's a monster under the bed, you know, or someone else expects me to do this. So, Pauline, I'm sorry. Like I can't take any of this. You know, I'm still under contract, you know. So that's the thing. That's a thinking pattern that eventually has to evaporate. And basically what we want to do is we want to become a little more savvy. So if you are a very good, solid human, you may want to just entertain yourself. And this is where you know that you are free. I got some time. I'm going to try some boxing. I'm going to try myself out of boxing. Or like, I got some energy. I think I'm going to start my own class. You know, I'm going to call some people and I'm going to start my own class or whatever, you know. So this is where you have no damage done. But in certain cases, now this depends. If you have nobody and nothing to your disposal, if nothing is happening, nothing seems right in your life, to go into this altruism is actually going to do nothing for you eventually, you know. So that's where we have to sort of come back down to terms. We are getting closer towards Taurus. The moon is in Libra, Akashic records. We've got to sum things up and we've got to have a look. We have to see, you know, with this balancing thing as to what is exact and where you actually have got a pretty damn good result. And just like write it down and just don't escape it, don't worry. And some of the time you don't even want to care about it, but try to care for the good, solid, sturdy results. And in certain cases, you don't want to just go and do, you know, what I just said, which is just go out and have fun and dance the dance of life and just see like what else may happen. If you're not so free, if you're not so strong, if you're not so mentally or emotionally robust, I understand if you can't, but some people really would need to go and do just that. It's like, okay, results, wait, stop, okay, so here we have, this went wrong, that went completely right, I have no ego about this anymore, that was not the dream, or this was the dream, that person did this and then this other person did that, you know. So just like count up the things if you're really not sure. And sometimes people are like not so smart during Aries time. They just don't understand what is going on. They're like, what is happening to me? Or like, what's going on? Please, someone tell me. And the idea is basically to have a look as to your dues. You know, do you need to pay someone? Are you right now sick? Like, this is the worst payment, you know. Are you sick? Or someone you know sick? That's the worst one. Or for example, are you able or not able to do what you like? How much movement and how much freedom do you have or can afford yourself? And what do you do? Like, what do you do? Like each and every day, what do you do? Do you jump up, you know, as soon as the sun rises and go for a run and do whatever you're interested in? Or are you afraid? Does your fear make you clinch to your job? Does your fear make you feel or fear that you're not going to survive? Do you fear that someone else is going to find out something about you? Do you have a secret? Are you clinging on to mommy or daddy? Do you have a mommy or daddy archetype, like a partner or even a child? Do you imagine that something's going to happen to you? Are you fearful? You know, are you moody? You know, and that's it basically. And for the right in the head and the right at heart, the better choice is just to go and do something. Go do something and just see what happens. It's not necessarily about doing it perfectly, you know, although Chiron and Sun does, you know, suggest perfection. It's just do what will be done in the moment, you know. So people may say, do as thou wilt sometimes, or they just want to go and see what happens, you know. So if we did have a time also to make some mistakes, not necessarily mistakes, but just to do whatever happens and to let some serendipity be a part of our journey, this would be the days. So thank you very much, enjoy, and I hope you have a wonderful moon, and I'll see you next time.